Hey everyone, Coach Nicole here. Now, when we think about being healthy, we know we have to move more, but if we can be very specific on how we move, that's when we can create true vitality and health. So I'm going to be making a 3-part series tackling the most common joint issues. So the hips, the shoulders, and the back. Now this is going to be a fantastic routine to do before your workouts, so you can use this as a warm-up, but then also you can just use this any time throughout the day to just get more movement and just work on strengthening those really deep muscles in those joints. So let's go ahead and let's start off with the hip. So we're going to be following a pattern. The first thing we are going to be doing is dynamic stretching, which means stretching through movement. Again, that is why it is so important to do this as a warm-up, just because we want to prepare our body to be moving. Because of course, we're going to be moving if we're about to exercise. So we're just taking that knee, pulling it up towards the chest. We're only holding it for a couple seconds. We don't want to do any type of static stretching before we work out, meaning holding a stretch for like 30 seconds to a minute. We want to reserve that to the end after our workout. So just keep on going back and forth. And of course, we want all these movements to be nice, slow and controlled. We're not doing anything fast. We're not doing anything crazy. We're just easing ourselves into the movement. One more side. Awesome. Okay, now we're gonna do the opposite. We're grabbing that ankle, pushing that knee down and back. We're stretching out that quad. Now, if you are a little unbalanced, feel free to put your hand against the wall while you're doing this. This one feels so good. We want to make sure that that core is tucked in nice and tight. Even though we are reaching back, we don't want to be bending anything crazy. We want to keep up nice and tall. Okay, moving down to the hamstrings. Take a little bit of a wider stance. We're just going to fold down and we're just going to swing side to side. So hamstrings, that muscle right in the back of your legs. We don't want to completely lock out your knees. Just have a nice soft bend. Just rocking back and forth. Now, if you were doing this for just general health, so you're doing it not as a warm-up, feel free to extend these movements and do a couple extra reps. You can do them for as long as you want. Okay, from here, we're coming down to the ground. We're in a nice kneeling position. We're gonna start with that foot directly underneath that knee, facing straight forward. We're gonna rock, pushing the hips forward, stretching out that hip flexor right there. And then we're gonna rock back, straighten out the leg, stretch out that hamstring. Going back and forth. Again, keep that core tucked in. Keep those shoulders rolled back. We want to keep good posture throughout the warm-up, just because if we are instilling that habit of having good posture now, that's going to follow through from when we work out. And it's also going to follow through for your daily life. So you're just going to have better posture, you know, doing anything. And hey, who doesn't want good posture? If you're a little wobbly in this position, you can bring your hands down to the ground and do the same exact thing. Now, if you're in this upper position and you don't feel much of a stretch in your hip flexor and a lot of it's in your ankle, feel free to just move that foot forward. Okay, last time on this side. Let's switch, same exact thing. Kneeling position, push forward, rocking back. Good, keep it going. Awesome, couple more times. I guess while we're doing this, I'll tell you a quick little story. I went and got a pedicure a couple days ago and they accidentally cut the bottom of my foot. Yeah, I know, that's kind of disgusting. But now, anytime that I have to do my cardio, oof, hurts. Does not feel good. It's starting to heal, but just having a cut on the bottom of your foot is the worst because you're always, you know, touching it. You gotta walk. Okay, awesome. Moving on to stretching out more of the glute. So we're going to come up on our hands and our feet. We're gonna go into a pigeon pose. So I'm bringing my knee forward, keeping that leg tucked in, back leg straight, sitting up nice and tall, holding it for a couple of seconds, and then just coming back up into that plank position, switching to the other side. From there, we're just gonna keep repeating back and forth. This is one of my favorite stretches. I work glutes 2 to 3 times a week, so they're quite sore all the time. So doing this stretch and keeping up on it really makes sure that that area doesn't get too tight, because if we really work an area and we don't stretch it out, it's gonna stay tight, and then that's just going to eventually lead to injury. And if you're really trying to improve and work that area, you need to work it. And if you're injured, well, you're not going to be able to work it. Good. Let's just do it one more time on each side and on the other. Perfect. Okay, next one. I'm going to be showing you 2 variations of this stretch. Now, we're actually going into more of a mobility side of it. So we're working on being able to move through range of motion. We're going to have our feet nice and wide. You can have your hands on the ground, but we want to keep upright as much as possible. We do not want to lean back. From here, we're going to take one knee, tap it down towards the ground, pick it back up, same thing on the other side. Now we want to make sure that only one knee is moving at a time. It's going to be an easy habit to try to get both to move so it creates more room. We want to fight against it and keep that other knee up. Now, once you do this movement quite a bit, sometimes it can get a little easy. So if you want to step up and make this exercise even harder, you are going to go into a low squat position. Make sure those heels are on the ground, and then you're just gonna tap one knee at a time. If this is too advanced, feel free to keep with that first variation I just showed you. Once you do that first variation a little bit, if you want to just sit here and hold this position and just rock back and forth, that's going to be a great progression. So then once you get used to that, then you can always add in these knee taps in the future. But ooh, that's going to get those hips burning. I love it though. Good. Once we're here, we are going to go onto our hands and our knees. We're going to be hitting those abductors. We're going to do some fire hydrants. So I'm going to keep my leg bent at a 90-degree angle. I'm just kicking it out to the side and bringing it back in. That's not just working our abductors, but those really small, deep muscles in those hips. And that's the whole point of doing this routine, is we're hitting those really small muscles that don't typically get worked. And that's why a lot of people, even though they work out consistently, they end up getting injured because those small muscles are lacking. Now, big key with this, make sure that hip stays down. We don't want to open up too much. We only want that leg coming out. Switch to the other side, same exact thing. Now, once you do this for a long time, it can get too easy. You can always add a small loop band right around your ankles and do the same exact thing. Couple more times. Good. Now we're going to straighten out that leg, kick it up, working more of the glute, kind of working more of that upper glute. Again, keep the abs tucked in, keep that back nice and flat. We do not want that back to arch. Switching sides, same exact thing. Just like with the other stretches, if you are not going to be working out after this, you can easily increase these reps and do a couple sets of these exercises. Just pause the video, do it as many times as you need to. Awesome. From here, we are going to be standing up. Now this is a fun one. Now I'm gonna do it facing this way. Theoretically, you're going to want to have your hands on a wall or on something that can help with your balance. But we're gonna have our foot straight out. So it is the same height as our hip. We're gonna start with our hips facing down. Then from here, we're going to open up our hips so it's facing out to the side. Keep that leg up and then bring it back down. And see how my leg just dropped down? Fight against it. It's gonna wanna drop down because it's gonna get tired. It's gonna be tough. We wanna keep that leg up. This is called hip airplanes. And we're just going back and forth, nice and slow. Again, if you are a very advanced person, you can take a kettlebell, hold it behind your back, and do the same thing. But again, that is a little bit more of an advanced version. Switch those legs, same exact thing. Keep it out nice and high, rotate up, and come back down. It's not an easy movement. I've done this move a lot of times, but it is still easy to get off balance. That's why I would recommend to hold on to a pole or something that's down, like bolted down to the ground. Good. Couple more times. Open up as far as you can. You can hold it for a second. Bring it back down. The slower you can go, the more you hold it at the top, harder that movement's going to be. Let's do it one more time. Perfect. Okay. And the very last one, we're just going to do some hip marches. So this is going to work our hip flexors and strengthen that area. You can do this with a kettlebell, or if you have a small loop band, you can place the loop band around your toes and do the same thing. But we're just going to put that weight on our toes, keep the toe flexed up, and then we're just gonna bring that knee up, bring it back down, just like we are marching. And you can notice every area that we stretched out in the beginning, we ended with strengthening that area. That's the two-part balance that's super important. You can be as flexible as you want and stretch all the time, but if you don't have the strength in that muscle, you're gonna not be in a good position. Switch those legs, same exact thing. I don't know if you can hear me breathing, but it even gets the heart rate up a little bit at the end as well. You should be breathing a little heavy at the end of this. Now, we don't want to pick weight that's extremely hard. We want like a nice moderate weight. Just because with these movements, we are gonna focus on going a little bit higher reps. And go ahead and relax. Now, if you are rehabbing from an injury, feel free to do these last bundle of strengthening exercises as sets and use that as your workout while you get stronger and you recover from whatever injury that you are recovering from. Now, of course, always consult your doctor or your physical therapist, but these are gonna be fantastic movements to keep in your routine, to keep your vitality and keep your health. But that is going to be everything for today. Look back on my channel for part 2 on the shoulders and part 3 on the back. I will see you guys later. Bye.